Thanks, Mr. Chairman. And thanks for that last testimony, Admiral. I appreciate that. But within force reduction, I would want to include, your basic function of, safety of life at sea. And in my case, that gets a bit parochial with the Newport Air Station. Central Coast, we have North Bend, Astoria. They're involved in half of the rescues off the Oregon coast. As you know, very cold water, short survival time. Congress forestalled some proposed cuts there. I know you're trying to move money around, but I never, we haven't seen a real rationale for those cuts. What one would observe is, A, it would be a longer response time from North Bend. B, that puts more wear and tear on the equipment, which seems to be a good deal of an offset in addition to the potential for losing lives. So, I mean, if you are going to persist in that, obviously I'm going to do what I can to find a way to not let that happen. But beyond that, in the interim, I'd like to see the analysis of how this really would have saved money, because if you're not reducing force, a lot of it was personnel cost, and if you're not reducing force, then they're just going somewhere else. So that's for that. Now, if we can move on beyond my parochial issues, which I obviously feel very strongly about, but ice breaking. I've been on the Polar Star at the South Pole with a former commandant. We got the Polar Sea. I'm going to go see the poor thing in dry dock. As I understand it, pretty much dismantling it to try and keep the other ship going. And you're at a point where there's nothing in your budget for a new icebreaker, potentially $1 billion. Some are advocating that on an interim measure, perhaps we should look at refitting the Polar Sea to try and get, because I understand the hull is fairly good, and I was on not out on, but on a 52 at Newport, which is 60 years old, which are unique boats. There's only 4 left. They can go out in a breaking 26-foot sea. The other cutters can't. I don't know what we're going to do for a follow-on for the 52s, or if we can keep them going for 100 years. So the question would be, are you looking closely at and close to making a recommendation on what we're going to do in the interim, perhaps by refitting the Polar Sea?
Yes, Ranking Member. We've got money in the 15 budget to pull the Polar Sea out of the water so we can do a full materiel inspection of it. Unfortunately, under continuing resolution, my hands are tied in the ability to award that contract, so therein lies the challenges of operating under a continuing resolution. And then until we can do a full assessment, then we can make a full business case analysis of whether it's prudent to invest in buying up to perhaps 10 years of service life on a nearly 40-year-old ship, or do we repurpose that money for perhaps a total recapitalization of the fleet as well, which at some point we're going to have to make that decision. But we are running out of time. And we're
you just gave us a good action item there.
Okay.
I wasn't aware that you couldn't do the contract under the continuing resolution, and that should be something we could fix. Would there be money? Would you need an appropriation to follow that, or just need authorization?
Just need the authorization, an anomaly to the existing continuing resolution. The same would apply as we want to award the National Security Cutter number 8, and we need to make that decision by mid-March, so that time is rapidly running out on us.
Well, I would think the Chairman might be interested in us doing a little rifle shot suspension bill that might deal with some of these issues. Good. And then on the question about the 52s, I mean, I know you got an awful lot of stuff out there that needs replacing. I mean, what are we going to do in the future in the North? These are unique boats. I used to them around the country. We're down to the last 4. Maybe you can squeeze another round of refitting out of them. I don't know. I mean, beautiful inside. I wish the inside of my boat looked like that in the engine room, but still, it's 60 years old. Yeah. You have a follow-on proposal there? Are you thinking about that? Because, again, I go back to, your list of unmet priorities, and I guess maybe we need to direct you a little differently in terms of what we want to see a list of. Maybe we should be asking about your unprogrammed or unmet projected capital needs, which would be a much more comprehensive list, which might get the attention of Congress a little better than these 4 little items. So,
yes, sir.
Yeah.
And just on the 52, the hulls are, as you have seen, I've been on those boats as well, and there's great pride in ownership, and they're relatively easy to maintain from an engineering standpoint. So right now there is no need to repurpose those. They have a very unique, high ability to tow other vessels and operate in those conditions that you have in the state of Oregon. So right now there's not a service need to recapitalize those 4 very unique boats for a very unique mission in a very unique environment.
Okay, so we'll look forward to their 100th birthday.
Perhaps.
With the 4th set of engines. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.